Sandbox MMA fans, UFC France was this weekend, and we are going to break down the entire card. Pardon the hoarse voice. Was at Penn State this weekend and got a little loud. So I'm going to get through this video for you, make sure you can get you some content today, and we're going to break down the card, recapping everything that happened. Overall, pretty good card. I went 9-5 on it. My overall record is now 242 and 148. So again, pretty good card. Should have been 10-4, but robbery decisions happen because we're in France, and the France Commission is completely corrupt after what they did to MOICANO and Benoit Saint Denis, making them piss and take blood tests after being dehydrated from weigh-ins. So it was dirty. We had a couple of awesome call-outs on the mic we're going to briefly talk about, but let's just get right into what happened on the card. First fight, Bellagioki versus Chris Duncan. Looked like I was reading it well. Bellagioki was faster. He was better. He was landing more on the feet. Good pop in his two. Like that cross that he has is really good. And it was very quick on Chris Duncan. Thought he was setting up his shots pretty well as well, but he was end up diving in for takedowns, and Chris Duncan ended up catching him in a guillotine, and it looked like he got out of it originally. Then they went back into it, and Chris Duncan looked like he was trying to eventually get up because I don't think he knew that he had Bellagioki out. And once he released the head of Bellagioki, he realized that Oki was just sleeping in his lap, and he called over the ref and said, "Dude, he's out. Stop the fight." Ref waited, I think, about 10 seconds for him to actually be asleep to actually stop the fight, but he stopped it. And it was a submission win for Chris Duncan, so it was a good win for Chris Duncan. This guy is finding ways to win. Now, he beat Charlie Campbell after getting beat up. We know that he lost to Manuel Torres, but he does have 2 other wins in the UFC. He's 3-1 in the promotion thus far. It's a good start for Chris Duncan, man. For someone that I didn't think was overly great, it's a good start. He gets a good submission win. I start 0-1 on the card, but pretty impressive performance. Bellagioki, got to be smarter with those takedowns, man. People got to stop just diving into double legs and leaving their head there for a guillotine if you're not tough enough to get out of it. So I'm sure Oki would improve. Got to get better in that grappling. Nora Cornoli versus Jacqueline Cavalcanti. I think the judges were intoxicated for this because I thought it was 30-27 Jacqueline Cavalcanti, if I'm being honest. I think she landed the better shots. I think she landed much more. And I don't think Nora Cornoli did anything with her grappling. There was no damage that she was throwing. She had a couple of good tinies, but outside of the couple of good tinies, there really was nothing else. Saw good low kicks come in from Cavalcanti. I know Cornoli, it says that she landed 22 or 26. I don't think that's accurate. Thought I saw Cavalcanti land a lot more, land him a lot better. They were kind of taking Cornoli almost off of equilibrium. And the shots going upstairs with the punches were much better from Cavalcanti. Nora Cornoli also gassed halfway into round 2, which is not a good look for women's bantamweight. Just going to say. But Cavalcanti comes in, takes his fight on a couple weeks' notice after fighting about 6 weeks ago, and ends up getting the win. So really good performance from Jacqueline Cavalcanti. I actually think she is something in this division. Don't let this split decision tarnish your vision, because she has 2 split decisions in a row that should have been unanimous to her, but the judges just don't know what they're talking about because they're in France and it's corrupt. So we'll get to that when we get to Moicano's post-fight speech, which was absolutely hilarious. This guy is based beyond belief. But good performance from Cavalcanti, wins the point fight decision just like we thought. It was a good win, very impressive. Moving on, Daniel Barres versus Victor Altamirano. Now, once Felder and Bisping stopped talking about how to pronounce Barres' name, now we can get to talking to the fight, because I don't know, they just went back and forth on that the whole time. But Barres has pop in his shots, has power. He won this fight 29-28. I agree with it. I feel bad for Victor Altamirano because he was landing more, he had a lot of success in moments, and he was winning the fight outside of the times that he gets sent to the ground, and that's where he lost it. First round, Daniel Barres gets the knockdown and is just looking good, landing heavy on the feet. The pressure is forward. You see Daniel Barres really didn't give up the pressure at all until we got to round 3, and that's where Altamirano was having a lot of success. But even in round 2, when I got to those points where Barres was pressuring, you could see Barres was getting tired. He was missing a lot of the punches upstairs, and Victor Altamirano was just doing a great job blasting the body kicks and sticking the jab out. Again, this I don't think is accurate. I think Altamirano landed a little bit more head strikes than this. But it is what it is, scoring. We're not agreeing with a lot of the scoring here today. But Victor Altamirano In round two, is blasting those body kicks. It's looking good. He's landing the kicks to the legs, throwing the jab out there. And then Barres just hits him with a couple of really powerful shots that get Altamirano off balance twice in that round. So the round does go to Daniel Barres in my eyes. They were the shots that had more pop. They had the more effect. So now Altamirano's down 2 rounds going into round 3. When he just had a pretty good round 2, he just lost it in the final seconds with the big moments from Daniel Barres. Now round 3 comes around. Victor Altamirano finally starts pressing the pace, going forward, not letting his ass get pushed to the back of the cage the entire time. And he's realizing a lot more success, just landing really well. Again, his body kicks were the best kicks of the fight. So he stands very wide, so I think his legs can be chewed, but he is a tough dude. Barres ends up calling point to the center like Max Holloway, but he ends up actually throwing and knocking down Victor Altamirano with a great punch. Was really, really fun to see. Altamirano still won the 3rd round because other than that knockdown, slight knockdown, Daniel Barres didn't really have any other moments in that 3rd round, but it is 29-28 Barres. It's the right call. Spain gets another guy that they get to have when the UFC eventually goes to Spain. So not that Daniel Barres is this world beater, this super exciting, crazy fighter, but, he likes to throw. He has power. He's always standing forward. I don't think he's overly talented, but he got the win over Victor Altamirano by winning the moments. So I start 1 and 2 on the card, but it picks up. Aylin Perez missed weight. Now, Bisping was saying during the walkout that she faked. Her coach said that she had faked how bad it really was. I think they were just playing mind games with Daria Zeleznikova. They said they were faking how much she was really drained, so that way Zeleznikova could... Or would maybe think she wouldn't go for the takedowns, or maybe think Aylin Perez would tie her out in the later rounds and they could catch her off guard with that. I don't think that's actually the case. I think the coach was just playing mind games with Bisping, knowing that Bisping would say that on commentary. Aylin Perez looked really bad on the scales. I think that was true. She was truly that bad. And Zeleznikova engaged in the grappling, and that's what lost her this fight. I think if she tried to stay on the feet, she would have had a better chance, obviously, but Perez found a way to get it to the ground, whether it be goat Daria Zeleznikova into a takedown of her own, or Perez gets her takedown. So Perez ends up getting the submission in round 1 with the arm triangle. Good work. She's really good on the ground. She really is. She's very strong, very hard to get off of you with all that cake in the back. So good performance from Aylin Perez. Good post-fight speech from her. Does her little twerk thing. She gets to continue to move up in the rankings. She's ranked 15 now. I'm sure she'll be moving up, and you'll see where we matchmake her in our post-fight matchmaking, which will be coming out tonight or tomorrow. We'll see. We'll see how the voice feels. Tried recording this video already today. It's just it wasn't going well, so I had to stop and take more time to drink more water and shit. But good win from Perez. The homies get to see the twerk, and that's what we were looking for. Moving on, Taylor Lapulus versus Vince Morales. There's not much to talk about in this fight. It's exactly how you all expected it to go. It's exactly how I expected it to go as well. It was just a point fight where Taylor Lapulus was outpointing Vince Morales the whole way. Taylor Lapulus looks good with his technique. Good tapping low kicks, good jab, staying on the outside, throwing knees to the body, being able to really mix it up well. I was impressed. Good performance. He ran away with this. Like every round, he just outstruck and did more than Vince Morales, and he just comfortably won every round. Wasn't the most exciting fight, but he did what he had to do to win, and he won his 30-27 decision. That's how Lapulus likes to fight, and he made Vince Morales fight his way. So good win for Lapulus. Definitely want to see him go up in the rankings, fight someone close to the actual top 15. He's a top 25 guy, I believe. I think. Actually, I know who I matchmaked him with already. I think you guys will like the matchup, but we'll get there in the next video, so make sure you tune in for that. Lapulus and Morales, again, just to close it out, good performance from Lapulus. Did everything you expected him to do. Ludovic Klein. Not overly impressed from his performance, honestly. I think he's a really good fighter. I think he can mix it up very well. Good kicks, good punches. Maybe it was just Roosevelt Roberts fought him a lot better than everyone thought, because that is how it ended up going. Ludovic Klein just didn't do anything to really get a finish here. He landed some good shots, yeah, but so did Roosevelt Roberts. He had that really good high kick in round 2 that hurt Ludovic Klein and had Ludovic Klein shooting for takedowns immediately. So I think he found that It was the path to least resistance when he got it to the ground, and he took it there. Ludovic Klein's not one to just try to go out there and get finishes, I guess, even against the people that he should be getting finishes against. He's a minus 1,000 favorite here. You got to go out there. You got to get a finish. He just didn't do it. Would have liked to see more out of him, but he won the decision, and we really do need to see a real test for Ludovic Klein, see how he does. I'm willing to bet that if he has tougher competition, it'll be more of a scrap, and he may find himself into a finish. Good performance on the other end from Roosevelt Roberts for what we expected for being, a plus 600 dog, which I don't get how those odds work. He should be like plus 800, but it is what it is. Vegas has to make their money no matter who you bet on. Good performance from good performance from Ludovic Klein, but just would have liked to see more against an opponent like Roosevelt Roberts. It's just, you got to go out there and get a finish. You got to get a 10-8. You got to put some more damage on the guy. But I do think Ludovic Klein's good. It's just, again, another one of these fights where he left me with wanting to see more. Umar Sy versus Dawoon Jung. Dawoon Jung, again, made it a little bit of a scrap at times, but Umar Sy clearly won this fight. He has very good grappling. He had moments where he could get it to the ground and had good control, but he also had moments where the takedowns were stuffed, where we talked about this in the predictions, where there were going to be moments where Dawoon Jung was going to be able to stuff these takedowns, especially with he gets underhooks. Like, he's like one of these guys that know how to get underhooks, and a lot of these like Eastern European, like the Koreans and the Japanese and the Chinese fighters, like they kind of know how to get underhooks, but once they get on the ground, that's where it gets a little dicey. But Umar Sy didn't really make this just a grappling fest. He stood on the feet and kind of Cyril Gonned him for 3 rounds, honestly. Tapping low kicks, which were really, really good, really effective. And then that jab. Again, nothing crazy with the damage, but the slow stick-it-on-him jab, which it's going to work for this light heavyweight division. It's not the deepest division. There's a lot of guys that I think he can go out there and point fight and win. So that's exactly what he did here. A very Cyril Gane-esque performance and a win for Umar Sy. What we all expected. Would have liked to see a finish, but again, we actually got to see significant improvements in his striking. So that was good to see. Good performance from Umar Sy. Big win there. Ivan Erslan versus Ion Cutelaba. Again, another decision where I just don't agree with the judges. I think this was a clear 2-1 Ion Cutelaba based off the first 2 rounds. Think he had more pop in his shots. Think Ivan Erslan had the more visibly frustrating reactions. And I just thought it was a pretty decent performance from Cutelaba. Honestly, the best he's looked in terms of technique. Now, there were moments where he would get wild and throw crazy shit, spinning shit, spam overhands. That's what we want to see out of Cutelaba. It's fun. That's why we all tune in to watch. It's why we love Ion Cutelaba. But there was a little bit more technique and measurement with what he was throwing, which is something that I really like to see. I want to see Ion Cutelaba improve, and I think we're finally starting to see those improvements made. I don't think he's going to be getting any easy tests or any layups, so it's good to see him start to evolve his game more and more. But Ivan Erslan, one of those guys that just kind of needs the MMA experience. I mean, needs the UFC level experience to really start to improve, I think. He didn't do the worst. Like, he took a round off of Ion Cutelaba, in my opinion, but he did tire out. That's something that I think he should be working on, which I'm sure he will be working on. But Ion Cutelaba's no slouch, man. He's a scary dude, hard-hitting dude. So is Ivan Erslan. That dude's also got a ton of pop in his hands, and he's pretty good in the clinch. He's good at being able to control the clinch. So good performance from Cutelaba. Not an easy fight, but he got it done. Main card's where it gets really fun. Prelims were pretty lackluster, honestly. A lot of decisions, a lot of mad performance. We might have gotten all decisions except for the first fight. Almost all decisions. We got the Perez fight that ended in a finish and a Duncan fight that ended in a decision. And this looked like it was going that way. It looked like it was just going to be another performance where Fares Ziam was beating his opponent. But Fares Ziam lands the knee of all knees to put Matt Frevola out cold. Like, what a performance. Great knee. He destroyed Frevola, man. He was able to thwart the takedown attempts from Frevola. Again, Frevola had a little bit of control, but it wasn't anything overly impressive. He wasn't doing damage with it, and Frevola was tiring out while Fares Ziam was maintaining that gas tank and being able to walk forward, get some control time of his own, get takedowns of his own, throw up submissions of his own, and really just outland significantly against Matt Frevola. I thought that he had more pop in his shots than he usually has. Like, usually Fares Ziam's a guy that's going to just like throw a million teeps and stick you with a jab and have a really lanky soy boy cross to the face. but he didn't. He was actually throwing with power, and he looked like he got better. Like he looked in training that he got much better. And it was actually a very good performance. It comes to round 3, and Matt Frivola does that thing that Matt Frivola has been doing, which is sad because I like Matt Frivola. Like his walkout a lot. Narco's such a sick walkout, but you got Frivola, every time a clinch is separated, he runs away with his hands down, and it's like he's not paying attention. It's like he looks at you out of the side of his eye, and he like shimmies away with his hands down where he's able to get clipped. And that's exactly what happened here. Fereziam, they're in the clinch. He's escaping the clinch, and Fereziam just grabbed his face and shoved the knee in his mouth. Frivola goes out cold, gets a couple of ground and pound after that was not needed, but holy smokes, what a knockout. One of the cooler ones of the night. Man, I hope Frivola's okay. He posted, he said to everyone that he's okay. I'm sure he's still being taken care of now, but that was a brutal knockout. Good performance from Fereziam, got the crowd going nuts. And speaking of the crowd going nuts, crowd loves Morgan Charrière, man. The French crowd loves Morgan Charrière. Now, Gabriel Miranda, not a world beater, just a classic jiu-jitsu guy that throws a bunch of crazy shit on the feet with no technique and then tries to pull guard and tries to submit you and act like that's damaging and threatening. When are these guys going to learn that just doesn't work in MMA, bro? It just doesn't. Like, you're not going to flop like a fish like Ryan Hall and have any success. So Morgan Charrière, again, good performance. Would have, I guess, I don't know why I'm saying it, but I guess I wanted to see him beat Gabriel Miranda's ass a little bit more. But he ended up getting a really good knockout in round 2. And all he did was patiently wait for Miranda to throw one of those stupid spinning back fists he was trying and just perfectly land a left hook on a soy chin of Gabriel Miranda. Like, all Miranda has is a mustache. That's it. It's the only good thing he has. Morgan Charrière gets the win, gets the pop from the crowd. Great knockout in round 2. Showed that he has like jiu-jitsu defense, was able to kind of screw around and guard for a little bit and not get submitted. So that is a good thing to see. I think Morgan Charrière is a pretty good prospect, man. I think he's a guy that can keep working up the rankings. Let's just not be giving him layups, though. I know that he had a very close fight with Chepe Mariscal. That's the kind of competition I want to see him going against. He's a talented dude, and I think he can do it. So Morgan Charrière, great performance, great knockout, man. That left hook is really good. Sat Gabriel Miranda down bad. One of the performances of the night here, Bryan Battle. Now, there were moments where Kevin Jousset was landing really well. Good punches upstairs. That left hook was really good. Throwing the right hook really good. He had moments where he was tagging Bryan Battle, and it would really snap Battle's head back. Like, his head would go back, but Battle wasn't hurt from it. He was just, it was catching him. But Battle ended up going out there in the first round and really draining the gas tank of Kevin Jousset and broke the dude. Like, he legitimately broke him with volume, punches, cardio, and it was a really good performance. Battle, good, really good combinations. He would throw multiple long combinations that would end up catching Kevin Jousset. Kevin Jousset would hit him, his head would get snapped back, but Bryan Battle would not get discouraged. I mean, this dude's legit as hell. He's legit as hell. I think he's ready for like a Neil Magny fight or a fight just outside the rankings. I want to see Bryan Battle do well. One of these tough guys that's actually really, really good that we don't get to see much anymore because Petrosky sucks. Yeah, great performance from Bryan Battle. He, what did I want to say? The one thing that I want to see Bryan Battle do better, footwork. Because he stands a little flat-footed when he starts going into these combinations. He walks you down and he just kind of stands in front of you, and he'll move his head a little bit, but he doesn't move his feet, and that leaves a lot to be kicked. Like you saw, Kevin Jousset, and I get it, he's from City Kickboxing, so he's going to blast the low kicks, but he landed 17 and 19 of them, and he was able to land those shots up top because Bryan Battle wouldn't move his feet. He wouldn't go in and out, side to side. He was just standing in front of him and walking him down, and maybe he knew that he was tough enough to take the shots from Jousset, which he ended up being. But he was a little more hittable than I wanted him to see. And I just want to see him move his feet a little bit more, but those are improvements that he's going to keep making. He's a stud. He's 30 years old. He's getting ready to enter his prime. I think this dude's going to be a real problem. He's a ton of fun. Post-fight speech, one of the moments of the entire card. He looks at them, he's just flipping off the French crowd, booing them all, telling them Paris is a dump, which it is. But He's just like going at the French crowd, playing the heel really well, got everyone involved. Every time he'd look at the mic, they would boo. You'd see the translator was like, I don't really want to translate what you're saying because I know what's about to come at me and I don't want to say it about my own country and all that stuff. But he did it like good on the translator. And then Bryan Battle just hits him with like the best line. He goes, "You guys really thought a dude named the Butcher was going to lose to a French dude." Couldn't have said that more perfectly, man. It's just funny, man. You look at the crowd, there were some French looking guys out there. So just saying that. Soft soy. And Bryan Battle's not like that. So Bryan Battle just played the role of the heel really well. Great post fight. I'm ready for a Neil Magny matchup. I don't know what you guys think, but this is one of the performances of the night. This one pissed me off. I think this is a robbery. I think Brito won the first round. I do. To me, it comes down to the first round. I don't know why people are rewarding pitter-patter shots over big shots. Like, the more damaging punches were coming from Joe Anderson Brito. The submission attempts were coming from Joe Anderson Brito. The control was coming from Joe Anderson Brito. The kicks, all of it. Like, he was landing better. Brito was he was landing harder. I don't want to say better because the strikes from Gomi were cleaner. But this was just like, I do want to see more technique from Joe Anderson Brito instead of just spamming those overhands because he has power and he can put people out and he fights really aggressive and really fun. Dude, I just don't think Gomi's won this fight. I look at these rounds and I'm like, in that first round, like the round is about to, if that round doesn't end, Gomis goes to sleep from that submission. He does. And to me, that wins Joe Anderson Brito the round, which ultimately wins him the fight because Joe Anderson Brito won another round. So I'm just confused. I mean, it's a classic French decision. Think it was completely wrong. Think Joe Anderson Brito won. Gomis gets the win. I don't want to talk about it anymore because this dude is literally like one of my least favorite fighters in the UFC. Soy, boring fight style, not cool. Hate that dude. I really do. But Joe Anderson Brito lost. William Gomis won. That's all we're going to say. I don't think it was the right decision. Brendan Allen versus Nasruddin Imavov. Dude, Brendan Allen he's so skilled and so dumb at the same time when he's in that octagon, man. He is good. He's really good low kicks. His striking improved tremendously, and he just decided he didn't want to take it on the ground. He won the first round so easy and made Nasruddin Imavov a little bit more tired. Made him think more. But then he just spammed the same takedown, and Imavov just figured out the sprawl and got it. That's literally what happened. And then they go on the feet, and Brendan Allen would have some success. Imavov was landing better and more, but we didn't get to see enough of Brendan Allen trying to land because he was just shooting for the legs the whole time. And then he sits there, and he lays on his back in guard and says, "Come on, come down to my world." No, dude, because every time he does, he lands a shit ton of strikes and beats your ass. So I've never seen someone in a fight say, "Come beat my ass more," except for Brendan Allen. I was appalled with his game plan, honestly. Like, I get you want to get it to the ground, but you need to be smarter in getting it to the ground. He was telegraphing his takedowns. He didn't use his improved striking. I was just shocked at his level of performance here. And Nasruddin Imavov didn't look like he was this world beater, but he won the fight. He did everything he had to. He looked great in the takedown defense department. And he lands fast. Like, he's he has very fast hands. But I don't know, man. I was very disappointed in the performance from Brendan Allen. I like Imavov, too. Like, I think he's ready for a number one contender fight. But, like, what are you doing? What are we doing, Brendan Allen? Because I was shocked. I just thought it's going to be hard for him to climb back up. It is. And he kind of got there and he had his chance, and I think this was a winnable fight for him, and he didn't get it. Now, I picked Imavov because I thought that he was going to land the better shots and win the decision being in France. And he did. But he actually rightfully won the decision. Brendan Allen was delusional thinking that he won either of the last two rounds. But it was a good performance from Imavov. Did what he had to do. Not a great one. Would have liked to see more, but he did what he had to do to win. Landed the better shots on the feet. He's very, very fast. He has great striking. He has a good chin. His cardio's holding up. And his takedown defense is really good. So Imavov gets it done. Ready for a number one contender fight. Watch matchmaking coming out tomorrow. I've decided. Tomorrow to see who I'm matchmaking him with. My Pookie Bear Hanato. I told you. I told you. He went out there and he beat the piss out of Benoit Saint-Denis. Now, I didn't think he'd do it that well. But Renato Moicano had a broken collarbone. Went into the fight, got a takedown immediately off timing a kick, which he was practicing really well, which I said he would do. He'd be able to time that the body kick from Benoit Saint-Denis, catch it, and get the takedown, and he did. And when he got Benoit to the ground, he kept the position. When he needed to transition to the back, he got the back. When he needed to get to mount, he got mount. And fighters have been getting out of mount very easily recently, not when Moicano's on your ass. Because Moicano stood there and just broke him. Elbows, punches, elbows, elbows. Now, we've been talking about Merab, and, if you don't like grappling, you're a casual. No, no, no. The Moicano grappling that we saw in round one, that's good grappling. That's damage-inflicting grappling. That's high-level grappling. That's finishability grappling. Merab doesn't do that. He just gets control and knees your thigh. And maybe hits a few pitter-patter punches, but he's not breaking anyone. Renato Moicano made Benoit Saint-Denis look like he went through a sawmill. He beat his ass so bad, Benoit Saint-Denis probably thought he was back in the special forces. Like, it was brutal. And Benoit Saint-Denis is tough as nails. He got brutalized, 10-7'd in that first round, and then goes out and wins round two. Insane. I totally agree with the stoppage. Benoit Saint-Denis could not see out of one of his eyes. The other eye had a cut so bad that it was pouring into his eye right off the bat. And even in that second round, even though Benoit won, I think Moicano knew all he had to do was keep peppering him with a jab, even lose the round. If he peppered him with a jab enough, the eyes would swell shut, the cuts would pour out, and the doctors would have to stop it. Great performance from Moicano. Benoit Saint-Denis is going to need some time off, and we'll talk about that in matchmaking tomorrow about what's going to be next for him, but got a lot of respect for Saint-Denis. I do think that he's going to have to start looking at outside the rankings for matchups, but we'll show you what we're going to do tomorrow. But all the respect in the world to Benoit Saint-Denis. Good dude. Moicano, based. Post-fight speech, money. Starts, gets the crowd fired up, says, hey, beautiful city or whatever. We know it's not, but there are beautiful parts of it. And then he just goes off. Being a Brazilian, he's a big Christian, big God guy, and he starts crucifying the French crowd for trying to get rid of Christianity. That's pretty much what he was saying. He goes, fuck Macron, fuck the French Revolution, trying to abolish Christianity, all that in France. And he just goes off, starts talking economics, starts talking everything, goes off. Watch his post-fight interview because I can't, say into words, first of all, how much I loved it, how much I agree with it, but how funny it was, dude. He goes in there and he's just cooking the whole time, and you have Michael Bisping and the translator sitting there like, oh my God, I can't believe he's saying that. He just said, fuck the prime minister, fuck all this, fuck all that, fuck France, they're killed, fuck the whole city, it's terrible, it's garbage, whatever. I can't believe he's saying that. And then Bisping standing there all right, the interview wraps up and they're talking, and Moicano and Bisping are shooting the shit back and forth, laughing, and Moicano goes, I know you didn't want me to hear, he said something along the lines of, I know you didn't want to have to hold the mic for me saying that, but brother, he points to the cross that he's wearing. He goes, I'm from Brazil. What do you expect me to do? And Bisping starts laughing, and the camera pans away, but you could kind of see that Bisping was he literally says respect as the camera goes away, and it looks like they're talking about how Bisping agrees with a lot of it. And what the funniest thing is, when Moicano's doing this, and when he's calling out the French government for being corrupt and all the shit like this, the crowd is going wild, because once the guy starts translating it, the crowd goes crazy and happy. They're they believe it. They know what he's saying is accurate, and they want to back Moicano. So Moicano's going to make himself some money. Now, granted, the UFC will not post the full interview because Disney won't let them, but it is what it is. It's a great interview. If you go on ESPN Plus, you can see the whole thing. But what a night of fights. Great performance from Moicano. You'll see what's next in matchmaking. Hope you enjoyed it. Sorry you had to listen to my voice for 30 minutes be this sore, but tomorrow it'll be better.